Bill Gates demands mandatory digital IDs to tackle misinformation. That's right. We talked about digital IDs before on several different videos, but Bill Gates is coming out more and more doing videos and interviews talking, pushing this. He really wants digital IDs. He hates anonymity. He hates that we can call him out on his bullcrap. So we're gonna talk about it. But before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button, share this out so we can get this information out there. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and hit that alarm bell so you know when I'm putting out new stuff. Also, check out my link tree in the description. It has a link to my Patreon. That's where I talk about things that I can't talk about here. There's also a link to my Instagram and my X account as well, where I put out news and information throughout the day there as well. All right, so let's talk about this news now. This comes from Slay News' The Great Frank Bergman. And he reports that billionaire Bill Gates is demanding that digital IDs be mandatory in order to supposedly tackle so-called misinformation. Now, who decides what misinformation is? That's the important question. Government? And what is misinformation? Anything that goes against what government says is true? Again, we have a right to anonymity. We have a right to express our beliefs. We have a right to even if it is misinformation, we have a right to express that. But in a new interview, the Microsoft co-founder also blasted the First Amendment for protecting the free speech rights of the American people. Gates argues that the First Amendment is standing in the way of censoring misinformation online. We've been hearing this a lot lately. Even Supreme Court Justice, what's her name, Ketanji Brown, what is it, Ketanji Brown Jackson, whatever her name is. Even she's stating the same thing. These leftists are coming out. They're showing us their hand. They really wanted to get rid of the First Amendment. That's the first to go. The Second Amendment and the First Amendment. They need to get rid of the Second Amendment to get rid of our First Amendment. That's what this is all about. But he called for digital IDs as a way to skirt the First Amendment and curb, quote, misinformation during an interview with CNET, where he also discussed artificial intelligence and climate change. While lamenting free speech rights, Gates erroneously cited the example that shouting fire in a crowded theater is an exception to the First Amendment protections. However, this misrepresentation has been repeatedly clarified legally to be a myth. Gates, meanwhile, claims he is grappling with what he believes to be the threats of misinformation and the technological phenomenon of deepfakes. No, he's upset that people are aware about him and his evil deeds and Epstein Island and all these other things. Why don't he just ride off into the subset and leave people alone? Because evil can't help themselves. He can't help but try to ruin people's lives. But while warning of this alleged threat, Gates argues that digital IDs will help curb the, quote, misinformation by forcing people to verify their identities online. Gates frequently promoted his digital ID technology as an answer to several alleged problems that he claims are threatening society. So free speech is threatening society. This push is particularly highlighted in an upcoming Netflix series and through dialogue with Stanford experts, so-called experts. The Microsoft co-founders organization, the Gates Foundation, has been pumping vast sums of cash into digital ID projects. He has been helping India implement its national ID system while using parts of Africa as testing grounds for the technology. I've reported on that in the past as well. Gates' proposed approach ostensibly aims to curb the spread of so-called fake content. According to Gates, making digital IDs mandatory for online access would ensure that only verified individuals can publish information. And we're going to get to the clip in a minute. This would mean that online content can be matched to real-life identities, Gates argues. However, this raises significant concerns about privacy and the potential for excessive surveillance and control over digital spaces. Yet Gates has never been too keen to defend privacy or free speech. Gates told CNET that there must be limitations on free speech in order to crack down on misinformation. He laments that America's First Amendment protections are making it tough to censor online content. Quote, the U.S. is a tough one because we have the notion of the First Amendment And what are the exceptions like yelling fire in the theater? Gates explained. Again, it's already been disproven. Gates' willingness to use the flaw fire in a theater analogy suggests a readiness to dilute foundational free speech principles to implement digital solutions. So let's just go to the clip here. Here we go.
Every country struggling to find that boundary. The U.S. is a tough one because, you know, we have the notion of the First Amendment. And so what are the exceptions, you know, like yelling fire in a theater, you know, and because you're anonymous online, you know, it can be worse. I do think over time, you know, with things like deep fakes, most of the time you're online, you're going to want to be in an environment where the people are truly identified. That is, they're connected to a real world identity that you trust instead of just people saying whatever they want. And so the idea of provenance, who sent me this email, was that really them? You know, we're going to have systems and behaviors that we're more aware of. Okay, who says that? Who created this?
How dare you plebes, he's saying. He basically saying, how dare you plebes say what you want to say? How dare you spew information that has not been approved by myself and by government? How dare you people express how you really feel? That's basically what he's saying. Evil, evil, evil man. Evil entity here. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this. Leave your comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe. And check out jjthepsychotherapist.com for the latest in news. Until next time, peace.